Welcome to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 521. My name is John Morgan, and Cole Coffee is with me virtually and without the proper equipment. He's if his audio sounds a little different, even though we've done a couple of these remote type episodes before. Normally we had our traditional recording gear with us, but Cole Coffee was in a rush to go on vacation and just left some gear at home, I guess.
You know, it was vacation mode and my brain just completely shut down. I was literally like, well, I think what threw me off too, when I would normally do my little sort of just checks to make sure I ordered my Uber, and I checked everything. I was thinking about, well, I got a couple extra pairs of shoes. I meant to bring like workout clothes. I didn't bring workout clothes. I meant to do all these things. I was like, is everything good? Is the house clean enough so that when the pet sitter comes there, it won't look like a mess?
Right.
Grabbed all my stuff and then I ordered Uber. And when I would normally like do the just final checks, it said it was like 2 minutes away. And I was like, oh shit. So I just grabbed all my stuff.
Oh,
and
wow.
then I didn't even realize that I didn't have it until like, I think I was already here and I was like talking to you or Fiasco, because I'm supposed to record with him after you. And then I was like, oh my God. I was like, I didn't bring anything with me. And it's funny because I knew we'd be able to work it out. Albert, he's on this mission. He wants to get 10 episodes in a row. I was thinking he's going to think I was literally trying to sabotage it, you know, of him doing it because I was like, I don't know if I can do it, you know, and he was all giving me grief. And I was like, ah. But yeah, I felt really bad. So yeah, it was a mad dash to like order this new little microphone, which I have no idea how it sounds. So yeah, the audio is, it is what it is, but we make do, and the streak continues.
We adapt and we overcome, and the streak continues. So we still get together and are able to chat out. I guess let's set the scene for everybody. I'm obviously here home in Las Vegas. You are essentially like I don't know how best to describe. Rural Tennessee is basically.
Yeah, Murfreesboro. I'm about like 40 minutes outside of Nashville. So yeah, flew into Nashville and actually got to kick it on Nashville. We went down to Broadway and did Old Reds and Kid Rock's bar and Morgan Wallen's place and John Bon Jovi's bar and a couple other ones. Yeah, so we got to do the Nashville thing for a little bit, listen to some music, drank some beers, and then got the heck out of there. So it was cool. Yeah, I had a good time. So yeah, I'm in the middle of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, in the middle of nowhere. But it's cool. It's been good. Yeah.
Nashville is actually a pretty cool town. I know it's getting like very popular. I've heard that like people that live there are almost like frustrated with how busy it's becoming and like how much traffic and stuff there is. But it's a really cool town to go hang out for sure. My big pet peeve is when people call it Nash Vegas. I think that is the stupidest name I've ever heard in my life.
It makes no sense. It makes no damn sense. It makes no
how
damn
do you make
sense.
the name longer? And anyway, yeah, that's just for whatever reason. It's like nails on a chalkboard to me, bro. When people say that, I just hairs stand up on the back of my neck, and I'm just like, ah.
I mean, it doesn't even stay open all night long, you know. I mean, like if you had to pick who has the better music, Nashville wins hands down.
Right.
You talk about like food and the options, Vegas wins hands down. But you talk about like when you walk down the street, I will say if there was any sort of comparison, I think we got down there like in the middle of the day. It was like, I don't know, 3:00 and the streets were already pretty lined. And by the time it was like 7 or 8 o'clock, and we were getting ready to head home, the streets were packed on both sides of people walking. So that felt very similar to when you're walking to small sections of the strip where there's a lot of foot traffic. But again, that does not make it Vegas. You know, that just makes it popular, you know. So, but it was cool. I mean, it was neat watching, you know, you'd see musicians moving up and down the streets, a lot of drummers carrying like their snare drums and their cymbals. Because what I noticed, me being a drummer, and I paid attention to how like the drummers were swapping in, a lot of locations provided a bare sort of minimum on the drum set. There would be a bass drum, a tom, you know, a couple of stands for your cymbals, and usually most guys will bring their sticks, they bring their foot pedal, and they bring their snare, and then they set up their cymbals, and then they're good to go. So it was neat kind of seeing drummers going from back and forth to different places, seeing the guitarists walking down the streets with their gear. It was neat, man. There's something cool about being a town where it's all about like a lot about the performing the performers, and dude, they were all good. I mean, like, I passed a pizza shop, and like there was a really good singer playing in there. Every bar you went to, there was like decent music going on. It was pretty ridiculous. But yeah, there was some neat one, man. John Bon Jovi bar was really cool. Like, they had a tiered level of like the band. So when you're facing the stage, the singer is on this small little platform, and then the next level, there's some instruments, whatever you want to put there, and then another level, and that was where I think the drummer was up top. But when you look at it, it's just really neat seeing them on different levels. It was kind of really cool. But yeah, man, it's Nashville's a cool town for sure. But yeah, it's not Vegas, but it is Nashville. It's very unique in its own right. But yeah, Vegas, that's just stupid.
I love it, man. Well, glad you're getting a little vacation, and even if you don't have all your gear, at least you took a couple of minutes to sit down and keep the streak alive here. The streak that is the news that we've been teasing, the developments, the possibilities that we've been throwing out there for a long time, finally all ironed out and come to fruition. If you didn't see the announcement earlier this week, I'll share it to you here. But I have been promoted to the title of general manager of Cage Fury Fighting Championships. So a big opportunity and a fun moment for me in my career, and a pivot in kind of what I've been doing. Obviously, still as passionate as ever about the MMA game, but now getting on the operations side of things as well. We'll continue to be on air. We'll continue to do the commentating for all the CFFC events, the Fury Professional Grappling, hopefully the CFFC Match Day next year as well, once that starts back up. And we've also got CFFC Muay Thai in the works as well. So I'll still be on the mic for all of those, but also very much involved in the operations behind the scenes as well. It's something that basically for a while, man, I've been just trying to take every little responsibility, like everything. Every time somebody goes, man, we need to do this, like how can we do that? I'm like, I'll do that. And wow, we need somebody that's paying attention to this or working on this, and I'm just like, I'll do that. You know what I mean? Just trying to show like, hey, I want to do all this stuff, man. I want to be a part of everything. I've been a part of this sport for so many years, and I'd like to get on this side of it as well. And it was finally made official. So that's if you're a longtime listener and we've been teasing for the last couple of months, hey, schedule's changing a little bit. Hey, might have some announcements coming soon. Hey, we finally got everything all worked out. And it was actually kind of funny because if you look at the timing, we got our 520 episodes in. We hit our 10-year anniversary. We did all that. Mm-hmm. Now we start the new decade in a new way. And my official start date in the new position was actually my birthday as well. So it all just kind of, there were all these nice little, synchronicities coming together to everything to happen to start this new chapter in my life. So pretty excited about it, to be honest with you. You and I have had some conversations kind of offline and whatever. You know how fired up I am about it, and glad that we can finally share it with everybody out there.
Yeah. So, I mean, the question that I have to ask, does this mean you're still going to be able to do the graphics in the truck or not?
Well, I will still be very much a part of building the graphics and planning the graphics and working with the graphics people. But whether or not I'll be executing the graphics on event day for match day, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, man, I actually really enjoy that, man, like building it all together. I guess, building the graphics is really, a lot of similarities to like video editing. Obviously, you're doing everything live. I guess, honestly, probably a good comparison to like your stuff is like when you do the weekly like spinning back click, right, with the MMA junkie guys, and you're teeing up little packages and graphics and things like that to kind of roll in live. It's kind of not unlike that, I would say. I actually really enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think that's that. I know that was one of the things, hearing you talk about doing the stuff behind the scenes. It's one thing to be in front of a camera or on there doing the host thing, but to actually start to see, doing stuff like that, you get to kind of see the nuts and bolts behind how a show's put together, and you start getting a better understanding of that. And I love that sort of stuff. There's people that love being in front of a camera, then there's people that love like the technical side of things and like how, things are actually put together. And so that's why it was kind of cool. And I remember when you were like, man, I really like this graphics thing. I was like, uh-oh, you got the bug now. And once you start working in production, man, and there's literally dudes that make a living doing nothing but like graphics or running the switcher or coloring cameras or doing the audio, all that other kind of stuff. I mean, we get to see these cats in, day out when we're covering the UFC event. So it's just kind of cool, it's just seeing, you always talk about how my growth has happened in the sport, interviewing other stuff, but it's cool to see other people that weren't shooters, weren't editors, weren't production guys, now all having that sort of skill set. So it's kind of funny. So it's kind of, it's neat to see.
It really is. And I tell you, what's really fun to me is kind of the way this whole thing together, because, before I got into MMA full time, I was in the restaurant business. Right. Yep. And I honestly, I really, really liked the restaurant business. I mean, I walked away from it because I wanted to chase my passion in MMA, but I liked the restaurant business, and I liked running a restaurant and all the business aspects of it. And, as mundane as it may seem, but like going through a P&L statement and seeing where savings opportunities are, and what are we spending on this? What can we get a competitive bid here? What can we do? Like, I like all that stuff. And to be honest with you, when I started working with MMA Junkie, I kind of always knew that like Dan Stupp, as amazing as Dan was, and man, him and I actually exchanged some texts this week once the news came out. So
I saw that. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it was. He had some really nice things to say, and he reached out to me personally as well. But he was amazing. Like, I always thank him for giving me my opportunity with MMA Junkie, and B, I'll always thank him for being an incredible editor. Like, anybody that worked under Dan Stupp will tell you how good he was at making you a better writer, making you a better reporter, because he was, formally trained and was really passionate about it, right? He went to University of Missouri, their journalism program. And so anyway, he made you better, right? But I always knew that Dan, he liked MMA. He was passionate about MMA, but he had other interests where, like, I think he's, it was like, I think
baseball, he would like a bunch of other shit. He loved all that stuff.
100%. So I was always like, well, I know at some point, he'll feel that he's got this thing established enough and he'll move on to the next project. And I was like, and then I'll get to run it. And that was like literally my career plan. And obviously, corporations get involved and they have different decisions about how things are going to go. And so, it became evident to me that I was not going to be the guy running MMA Junkie because of whatever reason. And so the opportunity to come do this aspect, like, for instance, obviously this is an audio podcast, but since we're remote and you and I are looking at each other, like, I'm looking at a lighting bill right here, like a bid for our lighting for our next event. You know what I mean? Just like reviewing things like that of like, what all equipment do we need? Are we getting fair prices? All those things that, it's the fight part of it's fun. Like, obviously that part's fun, but now it's like really getting into the nuts and bolts of, how the organization works and all the, some people may look at it as mundane tasks, but like operational tasks that have to be done for this to be successful. So as much as the commentary is fun for me, and I'll continue that'll still be like the fun part of it. Like, I'm excited to have the working and job part of it. And so I was really excited for the opportunity. And then, Rob Haydack, who obviously has become a really good friend in addition to being just a phenomenal boss. Like, I absolutely love working for Rob. He's a good, fair dude. But we were kind of talking about the idea and ironing it all out. And he was like, well, what do you like? He's like, I don't know what we should call the position. Like, what title do you want? And I was like, man, I'm not really like a title. Like, I don't really care about a title. That's not really what I have. And he's like, I was kind of thinking like general manager, just because you're going to have your hand in everything. Like, you already kind of have you're not in one department or another. You're in a little bit of everything. So I was kind of thinking general manager. And it was funny because as soon as he said it, I was like, damn, that's kind of cool. Like, it's kind of full circle. Like, I walked
a restaurant.
I walked away from the restaurant business as a general manager. And here we are, I guess, man, at this point, 16, 17 years later, and it's general manager once again, but in an entirely different industry.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, what a unique story, man. That's awesome, man. I'm super happy for you. That's awesome. Yeah, Rob and those guys seem like really, really solid dudes. So it's 100%. Interesting to see, and it's neat because, it's not like you went to people that are trying to compete with the UFC that you're like, oh man, you guys are going to have a hard route, I don't know what's going to happen with you guys. You guys are finding unique stuff, and you're literally embracing the fact of being a feeder organization that can work with it. You guys are riding on Fight Pass, which is awesome. And then the stuff that you guys are doing with like college wrestling, Muay Thai, all this other shit. It's just like, that's what we've been saying forever about trying to have organizations find something unique that can separate themselves from the UFC. Nobody's going to be able to fully replicate what the UFC is doing. So it's like, what can you do that to mimic some of the things that work for them, but also make yourself unique and individual? And you guys are doing that, so that's awesome, man. That's very cool.
We got to get you to come out to an event maybe this summer when you got some time off or whatever. We're get like
that would be cool.
Out. Yeah,
that
just
would be
hang
cool.
out. You can be my VIP guest. You can be my invited guest as an executive in the company. You know what I mean? I guess I got to get it right in my contract. I get some tickets or something. I don't know, but yeah, we'll have to bring you out to the event.
You're gonna have to buy more suits now.
I actually am gonna have to buy more suits, which is so funny, man. Because you know me, that as much as I can work from home, I definitely will though, and just wear khakis and a t-shirt all day long. So, anyway, exciting times, man. I'm really, really pumped up for it, and yeah, man. I obviously will continue to share. So, people may ask, like, so what does that mean for you? Well, the good thing about now, commentary, I will no longer be commentating for other organizations, right? Because obviously, I cannot go work for a competing organization. For instance, like Tough Enough. I love the guys at Tough Enough, man. I have worked with the guys at Tough Enough since I moved out to Vegas. So 16, 17 years at this point. Unfortunately, I won't be able to work with those guys anymore. But obviously, I told them, I was like, hey, let's always stay in touch. And if I can do something for you, let me know, or if we can work together in some way. But obviously, with my position now, I can't go commentate for another organization, which is completely understandable. But as far as like doing the podcast, can absolutely continue to do the podcast. As far as being able to, be in media functions at UFC events, can absolutely still do that. Now, obviously, CFFC is going to be my priority. So if there's a CFFC event or a CFFC work function that coincides with a UFC event, that's got to take priority, right? So,
like at all the media days, like all the other stuff where you've already been scheduling off because of CFFC. You mean what's going to change, John?
Every Wednesday, I have a standing meeting. No, I'd like to be able to do some more. So it's been a challenge, but it's been getting to this point. These are some of the things I was working on and making sacrifices and doing almost like intern type work. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't part of my normal pay, just to show like, hey, I got these skills and I can do this and kind of work myself into position. So I will still do my best to attend some Las Vegas media days for sure. Man, so glad to have a friend like you that has.
I remember back in 2024 when you used to do those.
We will do the best. No promises to be made, but I would like.
Hey, it's a good problem to have, man. It's a good problem to have. Honestly, I mean, you were working to get it, and you manifested it, man. You made it happen. So that's cool.
I appreciate.
And plus, I mean, it would just be competition against me on my, journalist of the year if you were there for all the media days. Can't have that.
I'm just trying to clear out the runway, bro, so you can have it all. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get involved. You're making quite a run to the top of Journalist of the Year, so I don't want to get in the way.
Watch out, Ariel. Watch out, Ariel. I'm coming for you.
Oh man, hey, you never know. You never know. I think I look. I know you joke and you jest and you kid a little bit, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you deserve a nomination, man. Like you're literally you're lifting as much as anybody. You're lifting.
True, but that would be silly because I'm the one that's been bitching about it since day one as being a popularity contest. I'd be like, it would be funny though.
I think you deserve it, man. And it would be funny to see if you got that nomination, how your tone changes. Like, I was always messing around about this thing is respect.
Yes, I love this organization. Let's go. I mean, like,
that'd be so great. Hey, listen. All right. So, a couple things. Number one, so I'll still be doing this podcast. Of course, we will continue our streak. Number two, still doing work over at Grind City Media as well. I just wanted to point that out because I did have a chance that, man, I wish you could have been involved in this amount, but I got a chance to talk this week, and I just published it this morning. With Marshall Zelaznik over at Glory. I told you I was talking with some Glorious. And it was great, man. Honestly, before and after we recorded, we were just kind of shooting the shit basically and catching up. Like Marshall, so a lot of people will probably remember Marshall. If you don't remember the name, you'd certainly recognize him if you're a longtime hardcore MMA fan because he was the director of International and he would do a lot of the press conferences like when the UFC was visiting Europe. Like when the expansion to Brazil was going on. He was very instrumental in the launch of UFC Fight Pass. He went to Glory for a couple years, and then when the pandemic hit, obviously the idea of live events and stuff was very much, a bad timing, and he got a chance to go to e-gaming for a little while into like the
I remember that.
Yeah, so he went to that, and then about a year ago he came back to Glory, and man, he's making some big changes. They just announced that they're signing with DAZN. They've got this big last heavyweight standing tournament, so a lot of good things going on, and I encourage everybody to go check out Grind City Media, whether it be a podcast feed, whether it be YouTube, go check it out. But I just wanted to share with you because it was just great to catch up with Mars. He is such a good dude, man. I always enjoyed working with him, and it was super cool catching up with an old friend.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. He reminds me of like whenever I get a chance to see like Dave Fisher and any of the guys.
Yeah.
Dave Fisher's the guy I work with, but Dave Lewis.
Oh,
Dave Lewis and the guys from the English office, from the UK office. He was bunched up with all those cats, like we used to always see him always around. He was always so polite, and he was always very helpful. And you always knew you get a straight answer from him, he always cut to the chase, and it was just like no bullshit. And he was always on the level. He was such a great guy and fun guy to be around. But yeah, but it made me think of Dave Lewis, because I saw Dave Lewis the other day happen to come into town for Vegas, and he walked straight up. I was streaming or whatever, but it's like, they don't care, because when you've been traveled the world with these dudes, they see you, and it's like, I'm just going to come over and just say what's up. And I was so glad he did. I was so happy that he came over. But yeah, because that was like the heyday of when we were traveling and having a lot of fun. Like it was always these cats that we would see on the road all around the world. And sometimes when you're in those crazy countries, we just want to see a friendly face, and then you see one of these cats, and you're like, all right, we're good. We're going to be good. So it's very cool.
It is really funny when you think about the eras, and luckily, man, hell, we caught the tail end of it with the beginning of this podcast, 10 years ago. But, and I'm sure everybody in every industry was like, it was different back in my day. But this company, the UFC and the mixed martial arts industry, has changed a lot. And especially the company itself, the UFC, like you said, you go back 10 years, 15 years ago, when you were just starting with the UFC. It was a different company, and I guess the atmosphere, the culture was a little bit different than it is now, and it's a little bit more buttoned up in corporate and that sort of thing.
Yeah, a lot more buttoned up. This was before they started like banning the staff from drinking at the host hotels and all the other shit, because people were running a little crazy back then.
They were indeed, man. We had some good times, man. We had some good stories. So. All right, so listen, I have had a ton going on, obviously this week, getting everything finalized, getting started in the new position, and all those things. So the truth is, I really hadn't had a chance to break down and dig into the UFC London card very much. And so I knew that was going to happen, and I was going to get on here. Me and you, I said, hey, look, we may not have dug into it much, but, we know the people, we follow the sport, we are living the sport every day. I bet we could just kind of bullshit our way through it, And I was like, you know what? That's not fair. I was hanging out last night. I was like, you know what? I don't want to get on here and pretend like I've been watching tape, or pretend like I've had a chance to listen to the media day, or I've been catching some interviews. Like, I have literally consumed zero content on this UFC London card. And so I thought it would be a little bit dishonest to get on here and pretend like I had. So it hit me last night. Our good friend Simon Head is over in London. He's covering the event. And I reached out to him, and I was like, listen, you please feel under absolutely zero obligation to do this whatsoever. But I know the level that you have in studying, especially the European events, but really all the events, and that you are embedded in there, and that you are, this stuff. Is there any chance that I can give it to you to just, lay out a little preview so that the MMA Roadshow fans do not feel slighted, do not feel as if they've been left behind and not getting any preview whatsoever of the UFC card? And fortunately, Simon Head said, John, I'm up for it. Call my number. I appreciate it. So that's what we did. Without further ado, let's send it over to London and hear from our good friend Simon Head.
Good afternoon from beautiful London, England, Mr. Morgan, Mr. Hathaway. Sorry, Mr. Cold Coffee. It is your buddy Simon Head from Newsweek these days, covering UFC London. My outlet changes every time I cover this event. But yeah, this time it's Newsweek, and it's been an eventful fight week. I'm currently talking to you. If it sounds a bit echoey, I am in the kitchen of our Airbnb, myself and MMA Junkie's own Abby Saban. Say hello, Abby.
Hello.
There he is. We've been covering Media Day here on Thursday during Fight Week. Now, the fact that Media Day is on a Thursday rather than a Wednesday was a bit of an interesting one. We saw a couple of fighters might have been a little bit dry. Molly McCann sounded a little bit croaky during her Media Day session. But in general, it was an interesting Media Day for a few reasons. But what we'll do, we'll run down this fight card, shall we? Leon Edwards taking on Sean Brady in the main event. It was going to be Leon Edwards versus Jack Della Maddalena for the number one contender spot in the welterweight division. Shavkat Rakhmonov unable to take on Belal Muhammad at UFC 315. So they draft in Jack Della to take on Belal for the belt. Leon couldn't really move from his spot. He's kind of a victim of circumstance, really, because he's the headliner in his home country, and to take him off the card would have really given the UK fans a bit of a body blow in terms of the fight card. Jack Della versus Sean Brady would have been a great fight, but it probably wouldn't have been a very good London main event. So the UFC saying to Leon, look, we need you to headline this, and we're going to give you Sean Brady. Change of style for Leon Edwards, who's obviously preparing for a striker in Jack Della Maddalena. Now he's taking on a mat wrestler and a submission specialist in Sean Brady. Not a huge problem for Leon Edwards in terms of having to prep for that style. Kamaru Usman was a very wrestle-heavy fighter. Colby Covington, a very wrestle-heavy fighter. And even Belal Muhammad, a very wrestle-heavy fighter as well. So he's been prepping for wrestlers for the best part of 4 years, 5 years. So the fact that he's getting another one in Sean Brady is not too big of a deal for him, and he explained that to us during Media Day today. But I think the difference with Brady compared to those other names is not about the ability to get Leon to the mat. It's what he does when he gets there. I think he's far more dangerous on the ground than either Kamaru or Colby or Belal. I think he's got that finishing ability with his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that maybe those other guys don't have, certainly not to the level that Brady has. So the key will be whether Brady can get that fight down to the mat. If he can't, he's in for a long night. He's significantly smaller than Leon Edwards. They did a face-off outside the O2, and the size difference was really jarring, actually. If you look at the pictures that the UFC put on social media, the size difference was pretty stark. I think Leon stands at 6'2". Brady is a pretty generous 5'10", I think. So there's a big difference in height. There's a bit of a difference in reach. But that's going to be an interesting matchup on Saturday night. Media Day didn't go 100% according to plan. I'll be honest with you. I was kind of leading off the questioning of the fighters and managing to get those early questions in. And when Leon stepped up onto the stage, everything was going fine. I got the first couple of questions in, and all of a sudden, fire alarm goes off. Completely makes Leon jump out of his seat. Next thing we know, we're back on again. We try again. Fire alarm goes off again. And it all turned into a bit of a chaotic session. Leon took it all in good spirits and everything seemed fine. But one thing that came out of that Media Day session, if you watch it, is obviously there's that sort of comedy moment with the fire alarm going off. But also some of the questioning from the media, where a lot of the questions were about Belal and the things that Belal had said or the Belal fight. And Leon was responding to those questions as well as he could, but then took exception to a couple of comments that were made about perhaps Leon is talking too much about Belal, when actually all he was doing was answering the questions that he was given. So, there was a little bit of justified frustration there, I think, on behalf of the former champion. But he looks in good spirits. He looks, in as good shape as ever going into this. Brady, I think, realises that this is a huge opportunity for him. He's been prepping to face Edwards for a while. Obviously, for the last couple of years or so, Leon has been the champion at 170 pounds. So Sean has been preparing to face him at some point along the way. He's now got that opportunity on Saturday night, and he thinks that he's got the game to topple Edwards again and move on and challenge for the belt, and potentially a rematch with Bilal, who holds wins over both of these guys. So it'll be very interesting to see how that pans out. Also, it'll be interesting to see how that Bilal Muhammad Jack Della Maddalena fight pans out at UFC 315. We have another fight on this card with championship ramifications. We have Jan Blachowicz, who's ranked number 3, coming back to active duty. He's been away for a while. He had shoulder surgery, and I think the first attempt at shoulder surgery didn't go 100% according to plan, and he needed to have it redone. So he's been struggling a little bit getting back to full fitness. He is now back to full fitness, and he's looking to turn back the challenger Carlos Ulberg, who looks like $1 million. I mean, the man looks like a Versace model, and he fights pretty beautifully as well. So he's he's a total package really as a UFC fighter. I mean, they must be absolutely praying that he makes it to the top of the tree, because they don't get much more marketable, I think, than Carlos Ulberg. So clean cut, speaks well, fights spectacularly, and he's going to look to try and do something that the two most recent champions at light heavyweight, the current champ Magomed Ankalaev and the former champ Alex Pereira, something that they couldn't do, which was knock out Jan Blachowicz. If Ulberg can get the KO on Big Jan on Saturday night, that is going to be a huge statement in the light heavyweight division, and will surely put him in line for a potential shot at that 205-pound strap at some point in the next year or so. Also on the cover, we've got Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland. Very interesting matchup in regards to, it's one of the most active fighters in the UFC against one of the most inactive fighters in the UFC. Gunnar has been, he basically said he's had other stuff to do. Aside from getting in the cage and fighting, he's had other commitments that he's been attending to, which has meant that he hasn't been able to compete as often as perhaps we would like to see, and maybe even as much as he would like to see. He suggested he'd like to maybe fight a little bit more frequently, which I think will be music to the ears of any hardcore fans out there who love watching Gunny Nelson fight. He's taking on Kevin Holland, who, he gets itchy knuckles after sort of the morning after a fight. I think he gets his next fight booked as quickly as he can. I think he's making a 2-month turnaround for this one. This is a pretty tight turnaround for him, and he's moving back down to welterweight. The last two fights, both losses, both at middleweight. Now he's moving back down to welterweight, and he's taking on Gunnar Nelson, who I think will be making his return after something like a 2-year break. So very interesting to see how that one goes. Gunnar's obviously famed for his submission skills, but don't sleep on that man striking, because you might end up actually sleeping in the cage. So Holland, we know, is good everywhere. Has sometimes the punch up for getting himself into situations he might not need to. So we'll see how that one goes. But interesting bout at welterweight. Despite the fact that Nelson hasn't been seen in the octagon for quite some time, he is the betting favourite for that fight. Just looking at the UFC.com website, they've got him at a -148 to Holland's +124. So it's pretty close, but Nelson, the betting favourite for that one. We've also got the return of Meatball Molly McCann, who obviously lost last time out in Manchester at UFC 304. She got beat by Bruna Brazil, the female representative of the Fighting Nerds, who put on a big performance that night to beat Molly. Molly was due to face Estela Nunes on Saturday in London, and about a week ago, or less than a week ago, Estela pulled out of the fight. In steps Contender Series graduate Alexia Thainara, who is 11-1 and has got a boatload of submissions to her name, and arrived for Media Day looking as chilled as can be, rocking a Mickey Mouse or a Minnie Mouse onesie, and happily chatted with the press ahead of her fight with Molly. Molly just seems to get more and more calm and considered with every appearance. You think the meatball that we saw when she first exploded into the UFC, she was just a ball of energy bouncing off the walls, super intense, sort of screaming her way to the cage, shouting at her opponents during fights, and jumping around with bottles of Howlerhead after she'd won. This is a different Molly McCann. She's maturing. I mean, she told me at Media Day today that, I've probably watched her mature, with my own eyes over the last few years, because she's just learned to sort of refine and develop what she's doing, and to be a little bit calmer and a little bit more considered in what she's doing. She was very, very thoughtful in her responses, and just seems like she just wants to go out there and put on a good performance. She wasn't even talking so much about winning the fight. I'm sure that's obviously what she wants to do, but it felt to me like she just wants to go out there and enjoy herself and put a good performance in. And she seemed genuinely grateful and happy to not just be facing Alexia, who stepped in on ridiculously short notice, but to be facing another Brazilian fighter, because, as Molly said, they always bring it. So that should be a lively one at £115. And the two fights at the start of this main card have real sort of interest for European hardcore fight fans. And maybe I can give you a bit of a heads up on these two, because these aren't necessarily huge names in the States. To me, these are the two best fights on the card in terms of the matchmaking. Kicking off the main card, we've got Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charrier. Now, Nathaniel Wood is the former Cage Warriors bantamweight champion, protege of the great Brad One Punch Pickett, who will be in his corner, leading him as part of Great Britain top team. He's taking on Morgan Charrier, the last pirate, who is a genuine star to come out of France. He's got the most incredible, passionate fan base who always travel to watch his fights. And he eventually captured the featherweight title in Cage Warriors. Cage Warriors at the time had 3 elite featherweights who were all sort of competing against each other in that same time frame. You have Morgan Charrier, you have Paul Hughes, and we know how well he's done in recent weeks and months, having moved across from Cage Warriors into the PFL. And the third man is Jordan Vucenic, more of whom in a minute. But those 3 all held featherweight gold at different points in Cage Warriors. And Morgan Charrier he's a superb fighter. He really is. The one knock on him, and it's something that he told me himself when I chatted with him in San Diego a couple of years ago, was that sometimes he just fights to the pace of his opponent. So the harder the opponent pushes him, the more he pushes back. So we'll see how that one goes on fight night. Nathaniel Wood is a technician. He's got excellent MMA boxing. He's got slick submissions. Actually, if you look at his MMA record, he's got as many subs as he has knockouts pretty much. So he's dangerous wherever the fight goes. Charrier gets better the longer the fight goes. And he'll have a slight size advantage going into this fight. Nathaniel Wood, I think, will probably have the edge when it comes to speed. But that will be an absolute barn burner of a fight to kick off that main card at the O2 Saturday night. And immediately following that is another fight that I think has every bit as much chance of winning post-fight bonuses for one or both men. Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan. England versus Scotland. And for anybody who knows anything about England and Scotland, England v Scotland is always a little bit spicy. And the rivalry is steeped in history, both on the battlefield back in the old days and on the sporting field as well, more recently. But Vucenic, this will be his second fight in the UFC. Lost his debut to Guram Kutateladze, and actually started that fight really well, but almost felt like he sort of psyched himself out of the fight. He just assumed that Guram will be better than he was, and almost allowed him into the fight through slight confusion almost. But Vucenic knows that he made the mistakes in that first fight. He's expecting to come back and compete at a much higher level in his second performance. He's taken on Chris Duncan, comes out of American Top Team. He and Rob Whiteford went over to American Top Team. Whiteford took him over there and helped him get embedded in that team. And he's a big 55er. I think he's going to look significantly bigger than Jordan Vucenic on fight night. I think he probably cuts a reasonable amount of weight, and he'll be a big, strong lad when he gets in the cage. If you want to know anything about Chris Duncan, go back on UFC Fight Pass and check out his Contender Series fight against CFFC vet Charlie Campbell, where I think Campbell was pretty much handing his backside to him for a while there, and then Duncan just turned around, planted his feet, bit down on his mouthpiece, and knocked him out cold, and immediately got himself a shot in the UFC. He picked up a big win last time out against Balaji Oki, and claimed a 50G bonus. And that was also the first fight of a brand new contract for Chris Duncan, who's now competing full-time in MMA. He was having to work previously, but now he's full-time in MMA, and he's really blessed and happy to be able to do that. For Vucenic, though, this is a big one for him. He's been one of Cage Warrior's biggest stars over recent years. Generally, his fights have taken place at the O2 in the smaller venue that Cage Warriors uses, the Indigo. And his walkouts to a song called All Goes Wrong by Chase and Status has become a bit of a cult hit in mixed martial arts here in the UK. He generated an incredible atmosphere with his travelling fans from Corby coming down to London and supporting him at the Indigo, and he's put on some huge performances in that building. Now he gets to compete in the big room, in the big arena for the first time ever, and I know he's absolutely buzzing. We had a good chat about that during media day, and he can't wait to just get in there and to show up and show out, as they say, on what will be his first UFC appearance on home soil. That is the main card for UFC Fight Night, Edwards versus Brady. It might not necessarily be one of those fight cards where people outside of the UK look at it and go, wow, this is a loaded card. But trust me, there are some really, really tasty matchups on this card, particularly those two at the beginning of the main card. I really like those. Wood versus Cherrier, Vucenic versus Duncan. And obviously those two fights at the top of the card having major ramifications for the light heavyweight division and, of course, the welterweight division. So myself and Abby are going to wrap up what we're doing, our media day stuff right here at the Airbnb just outside Canary Wharf. And then you never know, John, we might just enjoy a frosty beverage or two to round off the evening. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and fingers crossed I might be able to go over to Vegas at some point this summer. Who knows, International Fight Week might be on the cards, and maybe we can do something in person on the MMA Roadshow in a few months' time. But enjoy the fights this weekend, gents, and I'll catch up with you guys soon.
All right, that is the man, Simon Head. Indeed, we do hope we see him this summer in Las Vegas, and frosty beverages will certainly be on me. Appreciate him chiming in there. I heard there was some after banter from Abby Subban that got cut out after that apparently he was trying to throw Simon Head under the bus. But a great dude, and I appreciate Simon. I appreciate his time and his expertise. So I just want to thank him for that, and hopefully everybody enjoyed hearing from our good friend over there at Simon Head. And yeah, man, just hearing the the Airbnb in Canary Wharf, just hearing that phrase right there just brought back so many memories of when we used to, because it is, there's hotels over there, but honestly, Canary Wharf, where the O2 is really expensive when it comes to hotels, yep. But there was always good Airbnbs and yep. It's kind of fun to do that especially when you have a group of people. When it's just you by yourself, it really doesn't matter. But when you have a group of people and you can kind of work together, like in the living room or whatever, and kind of hang out and crank out, everything that needs to be done, and then still have the privacy of your own room or whatever. I miss those days, man. That is one thing that I do miss about traveling the world with these crazy guys.
Yeah, and it's always easy if you get that itch to go get a drink. It was always never too hard to twist somebody's arm over there to imbibe in a few frosty beverages.
A little bit of frosty beverages and some Nando's always goes well over in London. So
when they sent me the picture of Nando's, I was like, come on. I don't know why I didn't. It's like one of those things, you knew it was coming, and I didn't think about it. Not that I forgot about it, but when I saw that first Nando's pick, I was just like, damn, Nando's. I was like, come on. And then I was like, you better get a whole chicken and you better get hot, I don't want to see those damn mushy peas. I was like, do it right. But no, it's cool, man. Yeah. I still wish, man, we have more Nando's over here. Come on, guys. It's been years and years we've been saying it. Somebody make them all over the place.
It's so funny that and everybody, people would bag on it. It's it's just fast food chicken. I'm like, I know it's fast food chicken, but it's good fast food chicken. You know what I mean? It's solid.
I eat that shit all the time if it was here.
I'm telling you what. I know the few times that Bellator did events at the O2, I think they would always do gift card, Nando's gift cards for the media meal rather than
wow.
Yeah. So they would send them over to Nando's because there's that one Nando's that's actually inside the O2 arena in that little shopping area or whatever. So awesome. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I miss that. Hopefully we can make it back over there at some point. And
someday, hopefully.
hang out with those boys. But like I said, Simon said he's going to try to make it over here for International Fight Week in Las Vegas. So,
yep.
Yeah, hopefully he can make the trip and we can hang out. So listen, I did like I said, I have consumed zero pre-fight content, so I didn't want to try to fake through that. But that said, well, I didn't dig into the card very much. Obviously, at CFFC, we're a little bit excited about the main event, right? Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards, and Simon did a good job of kind of breaking it all down. I'll tell you what, man, I like Sean's chances in this fight, man. This is a big opportunity for him. I'm a CFFC homer for sure, but I like his chances in this fight, and this could be a big moment for Sean Brady, man. It really could be, and I'm not minimizing the difficulties that Leon Edwards presents. He does. If Sean Brady stays at kickboxing range, not going to be a good night for him. You know what I mean? Like, he can't fight at that range and win this fight. I just don't believe he can. But the grappling that he brings, the strength that he brings, man, I think he can make this problematic for Leon.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, the odds makers have made him even a little bit more of a favorite since it opened. Just slightly, it's moved up. But I mean, you're 100%. If he thinks he wants to make it have a point, and make it a kickboxing match, that's the wrong. That's the wrong approach. I mean, not to say that he might not find some decent success and that it's not the smartest avenue. I mean, you're right. I mean, if he gets to the ground, if he gets grappling, if he gets a hold of him, he's one of the best grapplers that we see in the UFC right now. I mean, so if he can make it and get his hands on him, that's going to be a bad night. Not that Leon doesn't have good defense, but I mean, you're talking Brady is legit one of the best dudes that can do what he does. So, I mean, I did pick Brady in my staff picks, even though a lot of people are still picking Leon. I mean, it's hard to go against the champ, but even Brady was sort of alluding to the fact that, maybe Leon's still focusing so much on that last loss that he's not fully focused. He's just thinking blah, 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 like, well, hey, you keep thinking blah, you're going to lose it to me, So if that is in fact the case, I doubt that he's fully, Leon sitting in the back moping about that fight still to the point to where he's not going to pay attention to this very dangerous guy in front of him. But that being said, I mean, if you are still sort of like, man, I got a lot of things to fix, I'm still worried about my performance right then. This is I wouldn't say completely different fighter. It's actually somebody that's kind of along the same lines of that skill set. Right. Maybe even a little bit better when it comes to, the grappling and the jiu-jitsu side of things. But, he's got hands too. People just think he's a grappler. That's wrong, but he's not Leon level of a striker where I'd say, all right, well, who's some of the best strikers in the division up at the top of the division? Brady might not be one of the guys I put in the top 5 of that picking. I wouldn't. But he's got hands. He's got power. I mean, dude's a stocky little dude, man. But his jiu-jitsu is just fantastic, man. It's dangerous.
The dude is so broad, man. He's about stocky, like the shoulders, bro. He's a tank of a human being. So,
he really is.
Unbelievable. Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's an early morning start, which is good. I love that. The European shows, you will never hear me complain. We get the main card starting at 1 p.m. here in Las Vegas. We got the prelims starting at 10 a.m. in Las Vegas. Yeah, you're Central Time. You lose 2 hours.
8. I know. That's 8 a.m. That's really early. We're talking coffee and eggs and some scraps. I like it. First, I got to convince my family. I'll have my iPad. Because, talking mom and my sister and the rest of the family into watching fights in the morning probably isn't going to happen but I will have my iPad. I will have my laptop. I will be watching.
You will get caught up. We will, of course, have a and a half episode for you guys all next weekend or on Monday, I should say, when you get back. You get back on Sunday?
Sunday. Yep. Sunday night.
Okay. All right. A couple things I just want to tease out real quick. CFFC 140, the prelims will be on the CFFC YouTube channel starting next Monday. So if anybody didn't get to catch the live stream, we're starting to archive those up on the YouTube channel, which was kind of dormant for a while for CFFC, but that's one of the things that I want to continue to build up, add content there. So pay attention to that. If you want to catch those prelims, there's some good ones. Also, I literally just did this interview right before we started recording. For CFFC 141, there's a heavyweight title fight in the main event. I'm actually going to talk to Bailey Schoenfelder tomorrow. Timing is going to be interesting on that. Bailey Schoenfelder, of course, made it to Dana White's Contender Series. He lost there, and now he's back defending his title, obviously trying to rebuild himself. He's going to main event CFFC 141, which is April 19th in Tampa. But I say the timing is interesting because I also just saw right before we got on that the gentleman he lost to tested positive for a banned substance and was suspended for 2 years and actually, I think, released from the UFC.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if he if he's a little bit upset about that, a little bit salty. I imagine he might be. So I'll talk to him tomorrow. But just before we got on here, I talked to Anthony Gracio. This dude, I knew he was a character. I had no idea how much of a personality this guy is. I'm going to tell everybody now. I know you may say, John, I got enough in my life. I can't go out of my way to catch, this developmental heavyweight at 3-0, his interview. It's one of my favorite interviews. In fact, I wouldn't even call it an interview. I would call it a monologue that I recorded because I didn't have to ask. I asked maybe 3 questions in 24 minutes. And this dude,
Wow.
This dude is amazing. His story is incredible. He talks a little bit about it. I mean, from the fact that he was, homeless a couple of years ago to now where he is and wants to be in the UFC. And, he was saying, he's like, I got a car that's so broken down, I might have to push it to the Florida State Fairgrounds, on April 19th. But I'm getting there, and he's battling out of that, and he is a personality. So I just want to tease that to everybody because it was a damn good interview, man. And it's not because I'm any good in it. It's just because this dude is mad personality. So I want to put those on everybody's radar and
That's
check
awesome.
that out. Yeah, on the CFFC YouTube channel. You talk to me. What's going on? So you're gonna watch some UFC London, but other than that, it's what's rural Tennessee life like? Are you out in the woods firing guns and bonfires?
No. Actually, no. My brother, he moved from his old place where he did actually have the gun range in the back, so we haven't shot any guns, unfortunately. We've been going to the gym. We actually got to. It's funny because he's my older brother, but I've been doing a little more workout, so I'm actually the stronger brother now. So so we went to the gym and we got to do the bench press today. I was like, oh, let's see where you're at, bro. So no, it's cool. We've just been hanging around here. Like I said, we got to spend some time in Nashville, and then tomorrow, I'm actually going to go stay at my mom's place. My sister is coming into town as well, so it's like a little, family reunion. So tomorrow I'll be staying with my mom. The next 2 nights I'll be seeing my mom and stuff, and then back home Sunday night. So yeah, just visiting family. That's what it mainly came down to. Is just time to visit some family in one of these off weeks. I say off. The UFC is still going. It's just not me dealing with it. I will tell you, I have muted my notifications from the work Slack channel, and it has been so sweet to not have my computer pinging me every 10 seconds. So. But yeah, no, we're just relaxing and just getting back to just chilling, man. It's been fun, just reconnecting with family. This never ending cycle makes it very, very hard to spend time and really stay connected to family that's not in your immediate location. So I'm just trying to be better and make the time and the effort to stay close with family, because it's so easy. The time just passes. Next thing you know, it's like, wow, I haven't seen family in a year or two. And it's just like, holy cow, so, but that's all. We're just reconnecting with family and having a good time. Yeah. So I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying it. Even though I'm eating a lot of food. So luckily we've been going to the gym every day because we've been eating good food. And I'm just like, bro, I don't want to come back to Vegas and even fatter than I was. I was like, let's moderate it a little bit.
hey, you're hanging out with family, man. That's what you do. You hang out and you have a good time. Yeah. What's funny is man, I just found this out this week. In fact, as soon as we get done here, I got to help my mom. But my mom and my dad both hit me up individually this week. My son in 2 months turns 13, so he becomes a teenager. So they both hit me up and they were like, they want to come out and celebrate his 13th birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they're both going to come out. It's actually interesting. His birthday's on a Monday, and his school scheduled a guitar concert because he takes guitar there. They scheduled a concert, so we're going to celebrate his birthday on the weekend. But they're going to stay through so they can see him playing guitar at his school and all that. But so both my parents are going to come out as well during that same weekend and help celebrate their grandchild's 13th birthday. Man, it's crazy how time flies.
Dude, that's amazing. That's awesome. Yeah. Yep. Well. Enjoy it. It's good stuff, man.
I'm sure that when they get in town, they'll be dragging you out to maybe.
I hope so. They better, or I'm gonna get mad.
Come have a meal or something with us. So anyway, listen, I've taken enough of your vacation time, your family time. Like I said, proper equipment or not, I always appreciate the time. Special shout out to Simon Head as well for delivering his expertise.
Yes, thank you, Simon. Governor.
Shout out to, That's terrible. Shout out to everybody. That's as bad as my country accent that I tried to use the last.
I forget we started calling him the Baron or something. I forget what nickname we started giving him. I can't remember. I forget. But yes, thank you, Simon.
We appreciate that. And shout out as well to received a lot of messages of support on social media, and also people in my DMs, people via text. And a lot of really cool supportive messages with my personal news. So I just want to thank everybody that took the time to reach out. And it was cool to man, it's so as toxic as social media and stuff is sometimes. It was really cool to fans and stuff that were like, man, for all the hard work you've put in, you deserve opportunities like this or whatever. It's just kind of cool that, people see stuff like that and take a second to say something. I say, talk about the importance of family, and it is paramount. I would say, put some nice things out in the world sometimes too, man. Sometimes those little words can go a long way when you don't think about it much, but you take a little second and it could go a long way for people,
Oh, that's our PSA for the day. I like that. That's a nice way to end.
We're sending love. All right, now everybody go watch some fist fights where people beat the shit out of each other.
Blood.
And there's guys.
Hopefully someone loses a tooth.
There is, by the way, I would be remiss as a growing aficionado and fan of the sport of college wrestling. The finals got underway as well. Pretty much everything is on ESPN Plus. But if you liked, CFFC Match Day, if you gave it a shot at all, it's a different format now because when they go to the NCAA championships, it is about the team, but it's about individual results. Now, you still win a team championship basically on how you finish individually. The points all get added up and the team wins. Spoiler alert, it's going to be Penn State. They've got a dynasty going right now. They're going to win the team title. But you're seeing everybody going after these individual honors, which is super cool. Obviously national championship status is special. And if you did watch Match Day, you'll see a lot of the names that we featured throughout the year that are going to be in contention on the final night this weekend. Cool. So it'll be really cool. It's actually in Philadelphia as well. So our CFFC brass that lives out there in that area, they're going to be in attendance as well, enjoying themselves and talking about plans for the next season. So something to turn on. I think literally, I believe every single session is on ESPN Plus. So there will be some that the finals and that will be on big proper ESPN as well, so you can catch it there. But I think literally every single session is on ESPN Plus. So you got that. You got USC London. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world of combat sports, and we're happy to cover it all.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just glad ESPN's got some coverage once the UFC pulls their brand. I'm glad ESPN's got something still there. That's another show.
Yeah. That's another show. We'll be covering that over the next couple of months for sure, man. Yeah, it feels like maybe they might shift away from there. I don't know. We'll see if they
something seems like it's coming down the pipe. Maybe it's posturing. Maybe it's just whatever. But for them to actually start getting to the nitpick where you're actually hearing both sides, and here we are starting to talk about it. You're hearing a little bit of both sides sort of saying well, we're maybe not happy about the low numbers, and we're not happy that our people can't buy the pay-per-views and can't get the thing. It seems like people are getting a little snippy, and that's right before the relationship kind of sours. So we shall see.
I'm telling you what, we shall see. That is funny. We think the numbers are down. Well, we think the numbers are down because people simply can't buy it. And oh, by the way, we never told you to make it $80 either, you bastards. You know what I mean? So, how about that? I will say it is funny. My wife laughed at me, and I tweeted this the other day to somebody that was talking about ESPN Plus. I know it's a whiny first world problem, but I do probably watch ESPN Plus every day, just because either I'm looking at fight content or soccer content or just general sports content. Even if I'm just throwing something on in the background, I'm probably on ESPN Plus for at least a little bit every day. And I use Apple TV. All my TVs have Apple TV, so it's simple. It's just for me. Me, I'm an Apple guy. Everything works together. So I swear to God, every single time I log into that app, I have to re-log in. And I realize that is a severe first world problem. That if that's
what people have been complaining about. That's what they've been complaining about.
And especially, dude, when you're talking about and it does because it's Apple TV, it does. You can type it in on your phone. As soon as it comes up, it's you can use your phone to type, but normally I don't have my phone in my hand, so I don't want to go get my phone. So I'm using that dumb Apple TV remote to type in my email address and my password. And I'm just what?
Bro, well, that's the same with the Roku. It's annoying as hell trying to use those little remotes. But yeah, I feel your pain.
Yeah, I know. It's tough out there, guys. It's a tough world out there. These are the challenges that I face on a daily basis, and yet I press forward. I drive on. I chase opportunities.
Inspirational, bro. That's inspirational.
No login screen will stand between me and the content that I wish to partake in. Oh man! All right. Anyway,
I wish people that thought they had struggles could pay more attention to what you're saying. You know, this is the real stuff.
I'm battling back the emotion right now as I share it, but I stand strong with my Apple remote. Anyway, appreciate the love from everybody, man. Very, very excited about this new chapter in my career, but this chapter is staying the same. We're not going anywhere here at the MMA Roadshow. Now we'll just have even more knowledge to discuss, because when we sit in the press room and Dana White is like, "What do you guys know? None of you guys know nothing about the business," and I'll just put my hand up slowly in the air and I'll be like, "Sir, I believe you're speaking about the rest of these folks around me. I know what I'm doing, damn it."
There it is.
Appreciate all the support. We'll have an and a half episode on Monday afternoon for everybody on patreon.com/MMA Roadshow. For everybody else, enjoy the fights, enjoy the college wrestling, and thanks for listening.